What it do, flight crew? FTC. Flight team stand up. I carried this year. December is here. We got some fresh clean for your educational list. Now, I know you guys got some final exams due. I'm not going to be one of those, you know what I'm saying, bummy, boring, trying to make your life miserable type of teachers. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm a substitute teacher. You know what I'm saying? Just part-time, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, we looked at the other day of some scary turbulences. You guys shared all your stories, and you know what I'm saying? That was what's up. That was very interesting, bro. You know what I'm saying? I could definitely see on the way, the flight back, it was definitely smoother than it was last time. But now we got something interesting. Now, I'm not going to require no quiz or nothing. I just ask you guys to actually pay attention. You know what I'm saying? You can still be in your electronics, but that leaves me with this to also say. When the administrators come in, you guys know it's the holidays. They're having zero tolerance for everything. You know what I'm saying? Look, the administrators are being savage, you know? Word around the street, man, they're going to take people's electronics and thinking about, you know what I'm saying, pawning them that far, you know? So, look, if they come into the classroom, man, make sure you hide your iPhones, your iPads, your Androids, your LimeWires, your MP3 players. Because, look, man, they're not holding back. I would just hate to see them take it away. Because if they do, I'm not responsible. That is not my job. That's your parents' job to replace it. We have why planes don't fly over the Pacific Ocean. Now, I honestly don't know why planes can't fly over the Pacific Ocean. That literally has to be the most interesting top 5 topic of 2020. You see how big body, look it up right now, the Pacific, I always want to say specific, but it's right here, but it's just like, bro, why is like, you can't fly over the Pacific Ocean? It's like, bro, like, fam, like, it's that large body of water, so much space. Is it like a secret conspiracy behind it? The world may never know until we find out. Check it out.
I noticed something strange while booking my Asian getaway. My plane seems to be making a detour over Alaska. Why is my plane going out of its way to avoid the Pacific Ocean? Is this a mistake? Did I accidentally sign up for the Caribou route? At first, you might think this was a safety issue. The Pacific is the largest and deepest of the world's oceans. If a plane encounters a problem over a seemingly endless and bottomless pond of water, the pilots are going to have a rough time finding a safe spot to settle down. Alaska might not be overpopulated with international airports, but it's a lot better than the middle of the ocean. How's that for a tourism slogan? Alaska. At least it's better than sinking. Okay, I apologize, Alaska. Guessing that it was a safety precaution wouldn't be entirely wrong. When planning a route, many pilots prefer to maximize the number of airports along their path. Emergencies are incredibly rare relative to how many planes take to the skies every day. But I can't think of many things more stressful than losing an engine 30,000 feet over the middle of the Pacific Ocean. That said, it isn't the main reason airlines tend to avoid making a straight shot east to west. Ultimately, it comes down to saving fuel and time. It's easy to forget that an airline is a business whose profits depend on how quickly and cheaply it can move passengers between destinations. People also prefer to get to their next stop as quickly as possible, so it's a win-win for both airlines and passengers. Long story short, which is not my forte, speed is usually the primary factor in determining a plane's flight path. Excluding special circumstances such as passing through the jet streams or other meteorological concerns, the fastest route is almost always the one closest to a straight line. But wait, just look at that flight path. It's anything but a straight line. Well, yeah, when you look at it on a flat
straight
map,
line.
But our planet isn't flat now,
exactly,
is it?
Yes, it's round. Exactly, it's
since
round.
We're used to looking at a world on a two-dimensional plane. Unless you bust out a globe each time you need to check where some city or country is located, you probably look at a world map. So, on a 2D map, making a...
Because you gotta remember! Like, this minute literally just clicks. This is like, bro, this is another reason to tell you guys why the Earth is literally round, bro. Because when you look at that map, like the United States and South America, right? It's literally, it looks like on a map, it's literally like right next to each other. It's just able to just cross. But realistically, it's like on the other side of the earth. That's why if you think about it, everybody, like the time zones, when it comes to like the sun rotating, like look, when I literally hated school, everybody, but like my favorite subject behind gym was science, bro. I always averaged like a C+ in science all the time, bro. Science, I fuck with science heavy. So it's just like, bro, when you look at like outer space and the sun revolves around everything like the moon, like it's literally going in a different path. Like it's literally revolving in a circle. So if the earth was flat and the moon and the sun revolves around in a circle, that means certain places wouldn't be able to get sun in the direct spots it needed to. So with that being said, like the United States and like South America, it's like on one side, and then like the other side, like you know the UK and like Africa and like China, they're on the other side, and it's just like it's like a full rotation. So bro, that was facts, because I'm sitting there thinking, how the heck is it faster going that route? But this is a straight line. But then you got to remember, like the Earth is round, like one side of land, because the Pangea. Remember, like the Pangea, every of the continents was all put together, bro. Bro, I'm literally, bro, listen when I speak, man. Best substitute teacher you guys will ever find. You know what I'm saying? So the Pangea, like literally almost like 20 like million years ago, everybody, prehistoric ages, all the land was literally together in like one big form.
Rainbow
Like,
to avoid the Pacific Ocean looks like
crazy.
a much longer route. But since the Earth is a sphere, more or less, but more on that later, a straight line is going to look very different in three-dimensional spaces. Okay, let's do a little experiment. Got a globe nearby? Oh yeah, I just said most of us use Google Maps. Alright, here. I'll show you on mine.
See, that's a real
I put
globe.
one end of a string on Los Angeles and the other end on Tokyo.
Yeah.
When I pull it tight,
That's a real globe.
you'll notice that the string
You
isn't
see,
running
I was just telling you guys right there, it's literally on one side. It's on one side.
parallel to the lines of latitude printed on the globe. Instead, it'll bend slightly upwards as it follows the curvature of this mini Earth I got at the bookstore down the road. This effect is even more pronounced in practice because my globe isn't a perfect recreation of the real deal. In fact, the problem is that it's too perfect. You see, unlike a globe, the Earth isn't a perfect sphere. Our planet is slightly bigger around the middle, kind of like me after the holidays. Wait, who wrote that? When looking at pictures taken from outer space, the difference isn't enough to notice. The planet is so big that it's easy to lose track of a few hundred miles here and there. But check it out. If you could take a giant string and measure the Earth's circumference through the poles, you'd need 24,860 miles of string.
Wow.
But if you do the same at the equator, it would jump to 24,900 miles. Why is that, you ask? Well, it's because our planet rotates on its axis.
Yeah.
Ever
That was
spin
what I was trying to look for. I was trying to look for the
fast on the
axis.
playground merry-go-round when you were a kid? Remember feeling like the thing was going to throw you out to the sides? Actually, I remember I was throwing up a lot. Not a good ride for me. Anyway, something similar happens to the Earth's midsection as it spins. The force causes it to bulge out. Yes, it's spinning fast enough to do that. Anybody tuning in from the equator right now, you're currently moving about 1,000 miles per hour.
Wow.
That 40-mile difference in the Earth's width might not seem like very much, but when it comes to the surface area of an entire planet, that little bit of added girth can go a long way. The combination of these two factors, the curvature of the Earth and its extra equatorial width, ooh, I like that, mean that curving toward the poles is a shorter distance than flying, what seems like on a map, straight across. None of this is to say that planes never cross the Pacific Ocean. People have to get to Australia somehow, I guess. I'm not so much into giant insects and spiders, but hey, to each his own. Just kidding, Australia. Anyway, planes will also venture over open water to avoid storms. While aircraft can outclimb some types of severe weather, such as hurricanes and tropical storms, seemingly mundane thunderstorms are surprisingly challenging. With clouds reaching altitudes of over 60,000 feet, airplanes are advised to steer around instead of into or over them. It's almost unheard of for modern aircraft to be brought down by severe weather, but bad enough turbulence can cause injuries to passengers and crew if they, and all the stuff they've packed with them, get tossed around the cabin. The takeaway here is keep your seatbelts fastened at all times. Another reason planes will sometimes brave an oceanic voyage is to take advantage of the smoother ride. Even in clear weather, there's much less turbulence over water than over land. This is because the primary source of turbulence is hot air rising up from the ground. Hey, there's a lot of hot air rising up from this microphone. Water distributes heat a lot better than soil, so flights over the ocean are often much smoother. The other primary consideration for determining flight paths are air currents, namely the jet streams. These high-altitude air currents exist near the top of the troposphere.
Wow.
That's the lowest layer of the Earth's atmosphere, and the one where most weather occurs. The border between the troposphere and the next layer up, the stratosphere, is known as the tropopause. Its altitude fluctuates between 4 and 12 miles above the Earth's surface. This fluctuation results in rapid shifts in air temperature and pressure, which creates a wind tunnel that can reach speeds of over 200 miles per hour. These extreme speeds are most common in winter, when the temperature difference is greatest, but regular wind speeds of 80 to 140 miles per hour are nothing to scoff at, so keep your scoffing to yourself. There are 4 main jet streams, 2 in each hemisphere, and thanks to the Earth's rotation, they mostly flow west to east. The 2 most important for air travel are the polar jet stream, which forms near the Arctic Circle, and the subtropical jet stream near the equator.
Wow.
Both are thousands of miles long, despite being only a few miles wide. Flying with a jet stream can shave several hours off of a trip.
Oh, word.
But flying into it can slow the plane down considerably.
Damn.
It's also worth noting the risks associated with jet streams. The biggest hazard is a kind of turbulence known as clear air turbulence, which occurs along the edges of the streams. This kind of turbulence is nearly impossible to predict and far more intense than the usual variety.
Damn.
Turbulence-related accidents are rare, but they are possible. One particular serious incident happened in 1997 when a plane flying from Tokyo to Honolulu suddenly dropped after hitting a patch of clear air turbulence. The pilots were able to regain control, but many passengers had been thrown from their seats really hard by the sudden descent.
Damn.
With that danger in mind, flight plans need to be carefully calculated to take advantage of the jet streams without putting the plane at risk. Repeat after me. Keep your seatbelts on.
At all times.
Understanding why planes take the routes they do often comes down to facts that we don't usually think about in everyday life. The jet stream mostly affects things tens of thousands of feet in the air, and the curvature of the Earth doesn't really matter unless you're traveling hundreds of miles per hour over vast distances. I don't know about you, but my car can't quite manage either of those things. At least not yet. I have a few ideas, but we'll save that for a video titled 7 Things You Shouldn't Strap Rockets To.
Hey man, that's what Capital as usual, man. Coming up below that, straight to next man on the road to 4 milli.